to invite Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to visit New York.
A mayor-elect preparing to take office. A sitting mayor using his final days to send a message. And a foreign prime minister invited to New York on Inauguration Day, not by the incoming mayor, but by the one leaving. This isn't diplomacy. This is political theater, and Eric Adams just turned Netanyahu into a weapon in his feud with Zohran Mamdani.
Quarters today in Harlem, and dozens of lawmakers were in attendance. Mayor-Elect Zohran Mamdani was invited to speak, but notably absent was the current mayor, Eric Adams. Governor Kathy Hochul, U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, State Attorney General Letitia James, and more all attended the ribbon cutting for the Empowerment Center, which will include housing space and a civil rights museum. The CEO of Goldman Sachs, David Solomon, touted the $192 million they provided for the project.
At the Urban League's grand opening in Harlem, a ribbon-cutting packed with some of New York's most powerful figures, Mamdani was invited to speak. But the list of who didn't attend is just as important as who did. Eric Adams, absent. Meanwhile, Governor Hochul, Attorney General Letitia James, Senator Gillibrand, all present, all on stage, all treated as part of the city's leadership, except the outgoing mayor. The symbolism wasn't subtle. Adams is already being politically sidelined, even before leaving office.
And while he didn't mention Mamdani by name in his speech, he said the project is an example of what the public and private sector can accomplish together. Solomon reportedly skipped a meeting with Mamdani after he won the primary.
I was seated next to him, and I said it was nice to meet him.
Then comes the other moment everyone noticed. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon praising the nearly $200 million they poured into the project, while never once mentioning Mamdani. This is the same CEO who reportedly skipped a meeting with Mamdani after his primary victory. The corporate world is cautious, maybe even hostile, toward the incoming mayor. But Mamdani's response was polite. Nice to meet him, good to be in touch. Translation: he heard the message, and he's choosing not to escalate, at least not yet.
Stay in the city, but he's also flying on the taxpayers' dime to Israel on Friday. Adams says he's also inviting the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to New York City on January 1st in a dig against Mamdani, who is being sworn in on that day. Mamdani has said he wants the NYPD to arrest Netanyahu for violating international law.
And while Mamdani is talking jobs, housing, and civil rights, Eric Adams is boarding a taxpayer-funded flight to Israel with less than 50 days left in office. His justification? To encourage business leaders to stay in the city. But then he drops the real bombshell. Adams invites Benjamin Netanyahu to New York City on January 1 ST, the exact day Mamdani is being sworn in. That is not normal mayoral diplomacy. That is a political message disguised as an invitation.
Wants the NYPD to arrest Netanyahu for violating international law, but has walked it back slightly, saying he would merely explore all of his legal options. Republican City Councilwoman Ina Virenkoff also jumping in today to say she is also extending.
It gets even more heated when you remember this. Mamdani previously said Netanyahu should be arrested by the NYPD for alleged violations of international law. He later walked it back slightly, saying he would explore legal options. But the relationship is clearly hostile. Adams knows this, and inviting Netanyahu on Mamdani's inauguration day isn't an accident. It's a direct challenge. You may be mayor, but I decide who gets the spotlight.
To Netanyahu, Mamdani responding as he left today.
I think that other elected officials are free to travel or right to foreign leaders. My focus is on the work of New York City.
So
Republican City Council member Ina Virenkoff also jumped in, mirroring Adams and extending her own formal invite to Netanyahu. That's not bipartisan diplomacy, that's political triangulation. Adams wants to leave office framing Mamdani as radical, anti-Israel, anti-business. Republicans want the same, for very different reasons. Netanyahu becomes the symbol both sides use to box Mamdani into a corner before he ever sits in his new chair.
Right to foreign leaders, my focus is on the work of New York City.
So sort of dodging the question there, but sources also say that Mamdani plans to.
Mamdani's response was calm, almost surgical. Other elected officials are free to travel or write to foreign leaders. My focus is on the work of New York City. He didn't take the bait. No escalation. No counterattack. Just a signal that he is trying to keep his message inside the city, even while his opponents try to drag the fight onto the global stage. So what's actually happening here? Eric Adams is shaping his exit and trying to shape Mamdani's beginning by forcing the debate onto foreign policy, not housing, not crime, not the economy. Netanyahu's invitation is political choreography. It lets Adams portray himself as the responsible, pro-Israel leader and push Mamdani into the role of the radical newcomer. But in doing so, Adams may ironically be boosting Mamdani's outsider credentials, the very brand that won him the election. Adams's term ends in weeks. Mamdani's begins in days. And this fight over Netanyahu is just the opening scene of a much larger political war. Corporate leaders versus progressive city hall, outgoing establishment versus incoming movement, international optics versus local priorities. This isn't just about an invitation. It's about who gets to define New York City's next era. And the battle has already started before Mamdani even holds the keys to City Hall.